Alright guys, and we're back, and one thing I forgot to say, or I think I forgot to mention in my last episode, is on this compositing project file, you just got a save project as well, and it doesn't work if you don't have this file already specified. So all you gotta do is click this and save it to your location, which in my case is my videos project file. So I already did that. And now let's go ahead and close Cinema 4D. I'll just go ahead and save it. And I'll make sure it deletes itself. Alright, so let's close YouTube as well. And let's get into After Effects. So all we gotta do is double click this box over here, which most of you have. If you don't have it, you can go over to the window and just click on some of those and find it. So what I did is I saved it in my projects folder, inside my folder, inside videos, inside projects, and as you can see we have these two, and I think it's the intro to After Effects composition. So you just gotta open that, and what that does is actually open our files with all the lights and stuff in 3D space. So that will be helpful if After Effects wishes to load. I'll be right back when it's loaded. I guess if I can actually pause it. Let's just press F9, I think that pauses it. Oh, one sec, it's actually working. Alright, I'll be right back when it's... Alright, so now that it has loaded, you can see this folder over here. And we're just gonna open up that folder, and as you can see we have the movie and a composition, and we just want to double click that composition for to open up our project. So as you can see, I'm sorry, one sec. Alright, that works out, I guess. Alright, so as you can see we have our composition. And what we also have is our two lights over here, which can be useful. Obviously, you can't change them around, and the light will not, like if you place them around, the light will not change on your Cinema 4D folder. But we can definitely make some tweaks using that and optical flares. So let's go to our kind of where it finishes the animation, and what we want to start with is adding some color correction. So what we want to do is just right click anywhere in this box and go to new adjustment layer. This layer is pretty much invisible for our file, but what we can do is we can use it to color correct every single thing or add something to above, like a layer above all the other things. So what we want to do is go over to your effects and preset panel and go and open up color correction. And now we just want to look at some cool things, and what I most of the time I use is curves. So this is a really cool way to change the atmosphere of the kind of feeling that you want. So as you can see, if we drag right here, if we drag it all the way there, are kind of the lightest parts even become black, and if you put it all the way over here, even the darkest parts are becoming white. So what I want to do is I don't want the shadows to be that big. So I guess I just kind of play around with it. So you can also go over to the red and change the red to be absent, or change the red to be present big time. And what I want to do is kind of make it just a bit present, I guess, because we have a red light as well. So what I'm gonna do is just make it a bit present, and the greens, of course, we can make it present, or we can just make it go away. And I don't really want to go and play with the greens, as we don't have any green in our scene. And then we can have the blue very visible, or not so visible, and I think I like it a bit visible. So I'll keep it like that. And then we have the alpha, which you can edit the alpha channels with, but we don't have those. So let's just close our curves, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Effect, and I'm gonna use a plugin called Magic Bullet Looks, but mine crashes when I'm recording. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load it up and start recording again. So all I gotta do is just open up Looks and add it over here, and I'm just gonna press edit. So that's what you gotta do, and if I click it right now, my After Effects will crash. So I'm just gonna pause the recording and click it, and then wait for it to start up, and then we'll continue. So don't worry about something going very weird right now, but let's just go ahead and start it up. Alright, so we're now in Magic Bullet Looks, and we can get started. So as you can see, I have a lot of presets over here. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create my own. So I'm just going to explain this really quickly. Exposure pretty much exposes the entire composition. Spot exposure, that you pick a spot where you want the exposure to go up. And grad exposure is giving you a grad to make the exposure. Contrast will change the contrast. Color contrast will change the contrast of your colors only. Crush will change kind of the shadowing of your composition and the overall contrast as well. Saturation is gonna let you pick a color. Range saturation is gonna pick your color as well. Color three-way is gonna let you pick 3 colors for the shadows, midtones, and highlights to go your project. Color ranges does the same thing. Color aberration kind of makes your thing go real funky, like that. Warm and cool can give you a warmth effect or a cool effect, mostly used in movie making. Fill light is going to give you light to fill it. Spot fill is going to give you kind of a spot that you can fill. Curves is going to do the same thing we just had. Pop is going to make everything pop out. Hue and saturation is the same thing. Cosmo, I think this is used for ninth kind of party things to make them look good. I don't really use it. -1 stop, it makes it 1 stop less bright. +1 stop is going to make it more exposed. So then we have the matte, and these are just exposure, spot exposure, grad exposure. Diffusion kind of makes the light pop out a bit more. Color filter is going to let you pick a color and filter it. Sky filter is going to make your sky kind of colors filtered. Gradient is going to make you able to overlay a gradient on top. Light flex, I don't really use it, but I guess you could use that to kind of manipulate the lights in your scene. Warm and cool, same thing. Star filter is going to get you all these funky stars, and you can play around with those. And let's continue. H5 filter is just custom. These are just all customs of all the above stated parts. Then we have the lens. We have exposure on top on the lens. We have spot exposure on the lens. We have grad exposure on the lens. We have a vignette, which is pretty much going to darken the sizes, the sides. We're going to have an anamorphic flare. It's going to make you able to create a kind of a flare. And we have a deflare to, if you have any flares on your scene, you can deflare them. We have comic aberration as well. Works the same thing as the other one. Edge softness is pretty much going to blur out the edges. Swing tilt is pretty much going to blur out the top and the bottom, or whatever you want. Lens distortion is pretty much going to make you able to distort the lens. Haze and flare is pretty much making you able to create kind of hazes in your scene, which I don't really use too much, as I'm not using a film, but I'm using an intro. Then we have exposure as well. And spot exposure, grad exposure. And then we have the neck bleach bypass. It's going to make you able to kind of make it bleach in or bleach out. We have the contrast again, color contrast again. Shutter streak is pretty much going to have you a streak on the top and the bottom, and you can work around with those. We have a crush, we have a color reversal, we have a black and a white. Color reversal is pretty much just going to change around the colors in your scene. Black and white is just gonna make it black and white. Saturation is just gonna make you able to choose a color. Range saturation is gonna make you able to choose the same colors again. And shoulders is gonna make you able to, it's kind of a custom curve really. It's a preset curve, I guess. Two strip process is gonna make you able to have 2 strips and expose them and just change the sensitivity of those 2. But if you have 3 colors in your scene, like me, you should use the 3 strip process, which is pretty much going to make you able to kind of edit the amount of color in your scene, pretty much. And then we have the film grain. It's just a grain on top of your scene, and a curve again, and one cool, of course. Then we have post, and I think every single one I already mentioned before. So let's just go ahead and actually editing this. So let's first go up and make a vignette and drag it all the way out. We really don't want this to be too attracting, like we want it to be really subtle. And let's get an edge softness as well and drag that out as well. And I'm just gonna change the quality to 10, and yeah, that looks nice. Kind of like an egg. It looks really nice for me. And what I want to do is, I think I want to spot fill, and just drag it all the way over there and fill it with the color you want. So I think I had a blue light right there, so as you can see it kind of goes too far. No, I don't really think that suits our scene. So some of these are just try on error. I think I'm gonna need a pop to make it pop out a bit more, and you can just disable these effects over here to see what the actual difference is. And I don't think that looks nice, as I want to keep the subtle kind of shadows. So I don't think I want anything in here. Oh wait, maybe I want a little bit of a colorista 3-way. So as you can see, these are the highlights, so these are the big things. I kind of want to keep that in the middle, maybe a bit bluish. So a bit going over there, but really subtle. Then with the midtones, so these are gonna be affected just a little bit. So I kind of have this bluish scene, and I think I want to keep it kind of bluish. So you can obviously change the shadows to be something different. So let's say red, but I really like our kind of bluish scene, so I think I'll just keep it like that, and I think that looks pretty nice. So let's take a look. I think I'm gonna add a swing tilt as well, and change the quality 10 and the blur size down, and I think I'm gonna pull this one up as well, holding shift. That doesn't work for some reason. And this one down as well. Alright, so there we have our color corrected file, I think. I might add a bit of film grain, just really subtle. Just gonna make it 1%. Oh, that's 10%, I don't want that. I want 1%, no, not 19. Alright, it doesn't cooperate properly. 1%. So there we go, that's really subtle. And I think I like this. So let's click finished, and as you can see, our scene kind of changes. And I think that looks proper nice. So we can just disable this and enable it, and we can see a big difference. And I think I like it way better right now, with the kind of bluish scene going on. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna open up, make a new adjustment layer, and I'm just gonna rename this flares. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag it below our adjustment layer, so below our color corrections. Let's rename this as well so you understand me a bit better. Color Wait, let's just call it CC. And we have a light 1 and a light 2. So let's just name light 1 A and light 2 B, and that's going to be more useful for us later on. So let's go over here and type in flares, optical flares, and this is a plugin as well from Video Copilot. And both the plugins I'm using are very expensive, but you can get them for free on YouTube. I'm not gonna lie, you can get them for free very easy, and you know, if you want to just buy it, I guess. Don't want to sound like someone promoting pirating, although I might be. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and drop in our optical flares. And this is gonna load up, and it's gonna take a long time. And as you can see, we have this flare over here, which we can animate, and we can kind of drag around, I guess. So what we want to do is gonna make the source type track lights. And as you can see, we have this nice looking flare. And what we want to do is we don't want to use the light intensity, and we don't want to use the scale from intensity, and we don't want to use the light color. And what we want to do next is go over and to the render mode and make it over original. So now we have these flares. So let's just take a look at what the difference is with these flares already. So as you can see, it looks quite different. But we're gonna edit these flares. So what I want is the name to start with, let's say, A. So now only light A is gonna get affected. So the left, I can't talk. The light on the left is gonna get affected. So now we want to go into options and actually edit this. So let's clear all of it. And let's go over to our length object. And all I want to do is create a glow, a shimmer, and a streak. And I want to go over to the shimmer. And I'm just gonna make this full screen, so we have a bit more area to work with. And then we want to go over to our animation controls on the shimmer and just make this 1. And let's just click it and see what it does. So when you hold it, it kind of starts animating. So as you can see, it kind of moves around a little bit. Let's just drag this up so you can see what's happening. So this is way too much, obviously, but now right now you can see something is actually animating. So, but let's just drag this down to around 14 maybe. No, that's not moving. Maybe change the amount a bit, and let's just change this to 20. So now something is definitely moving. You can feel it, and it's still not really present, but I don't want it to be that present. So let's change our global color to something reddish. Not this red, of course. That just doesn't look right. So let's just use this red color. And let's go over to our glow, and we want our glow to obviously be less bright because that is way too bright. And what I want to do is just press OK. So now we have this nice looking flare over to the left, and as you can see, this actually goes with the camera, and that is because we exported our light. So right now our light is over here, and if we go a bit forward, our light is over here, and the flare is actually on the light, so that makes up for a really nice effect, and it looks really nice, as you can see right here. Looks really clean and really good. So what we want to do now is just copy that layer, and that's gonna take a shit while. Not even. And we want a name to start with B. So as you can see, we have 2 flares now, and what we want to do is go to the options and just change the color to kind of this bluish. I think that will fit the scene. So right now, as you can see, we have this really nice scene with 2 flares in there. And yeah. So what I might want to do is go into a light and go actually in the position keyframes. And let's say at the end, I want it to be Oh, I think I want it to be down just a bit more. I'm sorry. Just a tiny bit more. So it isn't kind of on top of the other one. Wait, I'm just gonna go ahead and at the end, I want it to just be down a bit. There we go. Does that actually save it? Yes, it does. Alright, so now that we have this set up, I might want to do it a bit down more, so it's kind of on below our text. So we have one in the middle and one below our text, and that looks really tidy. Obviously you want to spend more time, but as you can see, without the CC it will look shit, and now it looks really good. Without the flare one, it would look very differently. Without the flare, the red flare would look fairly different as well. So one last thing that we want to do is go over and find some sound effects. So this is really a process I'm not that good at, but mostly I use my network, which is Full Screen's audio library. They have a library with tons of files. So if you want access to that library, you can just go to fullscreen.com or fullscreen.net and apply to be a partner. And if you are a partner, you're able to use that network and actually gain some money as well, which is fairly tidy. But let's go ahead and search our files. So let's go ahead and search, let's say, Sound Bible. Free sound clips, Sound Bible. This is one I used before I kind of got that library of Full Screen. And what I want to search is, let's say, ambient. I want an ambient because I just want an undertone for our thing. We don't want something too messing around. So footsteps on 7. I hope you can hear that. That's actually my speakers. That's not nice. It's not even ambient. It's not even close to an ambient one. This is one that is really one you hear on YouTube a lot. And you also have this ambient cave. So let's go ahead and search ambience. And reinforced ambience. This is just not good. Alright, so yeah, you have Sound Bible, but I really don't recommend using this free source because it just isn't that great, in my opinion. For kind of motion graphics is not that great. Maybe it's okay for like movie making or something, but it's not that great. So, but obviously you have Sound Bible and you have much more. Just type in free sound effects in Google and you will get a lot of sound effects. And all you gotta do is download them and import them in, and you can just go. So now let's get over to our rendering, because I'm not gonna go into sound, I guess, because I'm not finding any sounds I like, and I don't feel like browsing the web forever. So the output mode I usually use is just like double clicking it, or just clicking it, I guess, and that will hopefully load it. So the render settings are on best settings, don't change any of that, that is great. So what we want to do now is go over to the format and change it to QuickTime. If you don't have QuickTime, you can change it around, obviously. And something I like to use as well is the H.264, which I'm actually going to use right now, because I used to use QuickTime a lot, and that gives you much bigger files. And let's output the audio as well. So I want to go to the format options and make sure the target bitrate is 40 and the maximum bitrate is target bitrate is 30 and the maximum bitrate is 40. So let's press OK and OK. And that is it. Those are my render settings, like literally. And you can just go ahead and render this intro out to where you want to output it. So where I'm gonna output it is not my customer's folder, because that's obviously not made for him. I'm gonna go over to Zero Designs, videos, projects, and I'm just gonna go to this intro tutorial, finished. And that's how I pretty much label my files mostly. And that didn't render out, did it? Intro render time. Did it actually render out? No, it's rendering right now as we speak. So I hope you liked this video, and I thank you for watching. And I hope I can. Now it's estimated time is 7 minutes left, so I definitely won't show it. So yeah, we'll show it obviously at the beginning of the video. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial as well. Just some tips and tricks into After Effects. Obviously, there's much more you can do inside After Effects, and that is really something you should look into yourself. You know, if you want to be a motion designer, you gotta know After Effects. It's pretty much a starter pack to further motion designing, and it's pretty much the 2D program you want to use probably. And it's also great for editing movies as well. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'll speak to you guys later.